are now tuned in to the Worldwide Underground. That was DJ Phatrick on the ones and twos. My name is Gabriel Teodros. I'm your host for this ride. We get together usually around twice a month to talk about the art and politics of storytelling with dynamic guests across many different mediums of art. I'm excited to have Phatrick on today's episode. It's the first time we're talking about the art of DJing as a form of storytelling and the ongoing war of storytelling that we are moving through in this time. But real quick, I just want to acknowledge that I realize it's been a longer than usual break between episodes. Been working on a new album and I got it done. I actually just sent it out to mastering this week. I'm excited to share the first single with you. I think next Friday I'm gonna drop the first single. And I'm looking forward to releasing the album by the end of May. It's called Embers. It's a remix project. First time I've ever done a project like this. 11 tracks, 9 of them are my own beats. Just like this beat you're hearing behind me, I made this one. And I'm reimagining, remaking older songs from across my entire catalog. I also wanted a space to include 2 of the songs that I had originally intended for my last LP, From the Ashes of Our Homes. They're gonna be on this as well, and it's a really strong piece of music. I'm excited to share with y'all. Much love to everyone who came through the Black and Tan Hall this last week. Had an incredible show, and I want to let you know the next one, if you're in the Seattle area, it's coming up June 21st. Myself, Kings, Rel Be Free, we'll all be sharing the stage over at the Nectar, opening up for the mighty Dead Prez. You can find more information about everything I'm up to at GabrielTeodros.com, any of my social media. Big thank you to everyone who subscribes to the Substack. That is the best way to support this podcast and all the work that I have going on. So thank you to everyone who subscribes. GabrielTeodros.substack.com. And with no further ado, we're going to get into this episode with my guy, DJ Phatrick. You'll hear the story in the podcast, but I first met DJ Phatrick back in 2006 when he was DJing for Kiwi and Bamboo as part of the Native Guns. And these last 6 months, Phatrick has really inspired me as a turntablist. He's been doing some things, even just on social media, that I haven't really seen any other DJs do. And I just thought he was the perfect person to have this conversation with about the art of DJing as a form of storytelling, especially right now, times of genocide. Love to everyone going through it. Thank you all for your ears. Thank y'all for being here. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This is the Worldwide Underground. I am sitting with an incredible DJ who I've known for, I don't know how long we've known each other. This is DJ Phatrick, based out of Los Angeles, California. I first met you as a DJ. You were DJing for Kiwi and Bamboo as part of the Native Guns. I really don't remember the first time we shared a bill. It must have been, I think it was before Barrelman.
No, I think it was right after. It was the first time that Blue Scholars did the, what's that venue called? Showbox?
It was before that. I met you before that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hidmo?
Y'all were Hidmo. It was before that. I think we did one in Vancouver under the Volcano Fest.
No, you met Kiwi and Bam then, but I wasn't DJing with them back then.
Oh, that was when I met Bamboo. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then it probably was the Showbox. You're right. It was probably the Showbox. Yeah. But you knew Khalil before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from the Bay Area days.
Exactly. Y'all were both in the Bay Area. So I think I knew about you for a long time before we met, you know. I wanted to do this interview with you because this is the Worldwide Underground. It's this podcast I've started that I started not really knowing what the direction of this podcast was going to be. And I've pretty much zeroed in that this is a podcast that's about the art of storytelling and the politics of storytelling. And as someone who's I've done some DJing on the radio for the last several years. I absolutely look at DJing as a form of storytelling. And I feel like the work that you've been doing since October has really exemplified that for me, as a turntablist. Like, you are maybe the only DJ that I've seen really use your turntables as a voice against genocide, in this time. And it's been really beautiful, like seeing the scratch routines. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, how do you view your work as a DJ in this time? And what are the ways you've been using your art, as a voice for justice?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think overall, DJing just beyond this moment, we're specifically talking about post October 7th,
Yes.
the genocide going on in Gaza and Palestine. But even beyond that, I think DJing for me is a way to unite folks through music, but specifically, primarily through joy. In the
Mm-hmm.
ideal world, like, I just want to
Mm-hmm.
spread joy and share joy.
Yeah.
And but I know oftentimes that the power of music is a way to communicate, a way to translate feelings in a way that words sometimes can't.
Mm-hmm.
A written word can't sometimes. A, a article, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I guess because it resonates with me personally, it's a way that is very, for me, it's my main tool to try to uh, primarily communicate my feelings. One, two, try to organize and unify folks who share the same feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a way for us to create community, and through community, you feel kindredness with people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful, just right there, then and there. And then beyond that, it's a tool. It's a tool for spreading a cause, or spreading a message, or sharing something that might catch somebody's attention beyond you just writing a text-based Instagram story.
Right. Right.
I'm rambling, but does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I was wondering, like, I think just DJing for Kiwi and DJing for Bamboo automatically, like, puts you in the mind of, like, side of, like, political hip hop, but I feel like I don't know, it's so rare for me to see a turntablist, like, do what you've done in the last couple of months. I was wondering, like, I guess, where did that start for you, and did you have other influences as far as DJs go, with bringing the politics into the routines and stuff like that?
I think I would back up and say, uh, like you said, because of my association, with bamboo and kiwi native guns,
Hmm.
and also, I guess, through a lot of the routines I've done that have gotten the most traction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it, the label of political DJ or political hip musician um, makes sense, but I think I should clarify that as a person, I am always critically involved with the world and current events and power structures and patterns of colonialism, right? Those kind
Hmm.
of things, and
Hmm.
and injustice, just in general.
Hmm.
Even if I wasn't a DJ, that's just the way I am as a person, and it's natural. It'd be unnatural for me to not have that also tie into my art form, or
Right.
the thing that I practice in, the art that I practice in. So that's my comment on that part of it. And I have strong feelings, right? Like, I have strong feelings about what's going on in the world at all times, but definitely right now. And I remember the first thing I did was first thing I did was I remember a Bamboo lyric, an a cappella.
Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip.
We did a mixtape for Tad Nakamura's film A Song for Ourselves. It was a documentary about a musician, community activist named Chris Ajima in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And he did the same things that I was, hopefully that me, Bam and Kiwi, and you, all of us are doing now, which is provided a musical element to the movement, right?
Yeah. Can we talk about that album real quick? Because that album is incredible. Like, I've played it on KEXP, and like, what was it, like one of the first like API political records like back in the day? Like, that album's amazing. There's a song called Free the Land on there. That's just so dope to me that you did a documentary about it, or music for a documentary about it. Yeah.
Right. So for your listeners, you guys need to check out that documentary. It's called A Song for Ourselves. Yeah. And Chris Ajima was part of a collective. I don't know if they're actually called a group. They put out one album, and I think they're called A Grain of Sand, I believe. Or is that the album name?
That's right. Yeah.
And so it's not just that they were making music aligned with the Third World Liberation Front, right? The struggle to create Asian American studies, but beyond that, just that time in the 60s, it was really good music. It was like hands down amazing music. Good songwriter, great performance. Chris Ajima, just his voice, his performance is amazing. He's like a true, like, if we were talking about American folk legends, he needs to be part of that canon, right? Whatever that means.
Mutulu Shakur sang background vocals on one of those songs too. I just read.
I didn't know that.
When he passed away. Yeah, that came out. Like,
wow.
Like, yeah, so intersections are just amazing. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was the question again? How do we
Sorry, you were talking about how you got into right.
So the first video I did for after the start of this latest genocide. Okay, so
right.
So in that mixtape, the concept was we're telling a story about this guy, this musician for the movement in the 60s, and Tad proposed me doing a mixtape, juxtaposing his music with the homies that are currently the soundtrack of the movement, right? So back then we're talking about it's not limited to, but these are the folks in our circles that we have access to. So Bam, Kiwi, Geo, Blue Scholars, right? And so the concept was to take those three artists and interweave the songs, but also there was a moment to remix. So sample some of Chris Ajima's music, reinterpret them into new beats, and create new songs to put to include in this mixtape. And one of the songs was called "When Will the Time Come," and Bamboo. Bamboo's the rapper on it, the writer and rapper. We sampled Jonathan Jackson by Chris Ajima, and there's a part in the song where Chris Ajima is singing "When will the time come when the children never cry," and the homie, my former student Will Bracey, looped it up and created a beat. Bam rapped on it, and it's all about Palestine. It's all about Gaza, because when that mixtape came out was 2009, 2008, and the genocide then was called the Israeli army called it Operation Cast Lead, some fucking bullshit like that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna curse. I'm gonna stop.
You can curse. It's not the radio. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that was. Yeah. So that we were talking about that specific moment. The things happening then is the same things happening now, except multiplied by tens of thousands more bodies. But So that a lyric from that song from Bam came to my mind. And I was like, and this is like right after October 7th, and I'm having strong feelings about it. And when I have strong feelings about something, I want to express it somehow. And the strongest form of me expressing things is through my DJing, through my art form. And so I just did like a quick mashup of the acapella of that song with a Burner Boy song, right? Last. And that was the first thing I did.
Nice.
And yeah, and so.
And the chorus to that song is so hard too. I'm trying to remember the whole part, but it's something about the bombs all have the USA's name on the side. Or
yeah,
it's hard. Yeah.
How the fuck you drop bombs on the whole entire country and justify it in the news saying you trying to find one thing by killing everything within the 80-mile radius? Kids, babies, women, civilians. That's like me having to beef with one dude and I drive through all of LA, letting loose and whose bombs get used. I bet you didn't know that out of America's defense budget, Israel gets the most. Nowadays you just throw terrorism on it and get yourself a pass to put dead babies on it. That's a land not yours. America, get off the foreign shores, they ain't yours. Young people need to study, read between the lines, find out why America keep funding taking lives. I ride for the people being stepped on daily. More bombs, more killings, more rags over face. They dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. It's time we take it all back to no nonsense. Stop the massacre right now on the Gaza Strip. We talking 500 dead, 3 stacks hurt, little boys' legs gone, arm blown off little girls. Ain't no room in the morgues. They declare war like Palestine ain't got no civilians anymore. Helicopters brought over by the USA, dropping missile after missile on a school day. May Allah bring peace to the evil of a state that would indiscriminately blow a people away. I say Allah bring peace, bring us all justice. Call out those who kill us and those who fund it. They dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side. Dropping bombs over Gaza, missiles in the sky say USA on the side.
Anyway, so
it's a dope
he
song.
went in.
It's a dope.
It's dope. Y'all should listen to it. It doesn't matter that it was made in 2008 because it applies exactly to this moment right now.
For sure.
So yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind, and ever since then, I feel like if I have strong feelings about something, I have the technical ability to broadcast and know how to make videos. I have the artistic ability to make something creative, and that I need to. It's not just I need to. It's not a duty. I want to. It's something that I have to do to express it, and it's not lost on me that I have the privilege of having 7,000 followers that can follow my feed and a network of folks around the world that would share it, right? So like there's a strategy to it too. I'm not saying like I'm just like innocently putting stuff out and people like it. Like I understand the power of marketing, the power of sharing things, of strategic like messaging. It's not that's part of it too. But I think my point is that it still comes primarily from this passion within me that I have a need to express myself, right? It's not like I need to have, oh man, my views are going down lately, I gotta make a new video, you know what I'm saying? It's not like lately I haven't really done anything because it's just, I don't know, it's just, anyways,
You're feeling
the answer
it. Yeah, nah, that's real. It makes a lot of sense, and I feel like there's a lot of nuggets in there for people to get inspiration from, like, you know, using the tools that you have at your disposal, whatever they are, finding what your strengths are, knowing what your strengths are, and using them for the causes that you believe in, you know, or cause for justice. That's good. That's important. I want to go back to like,
I am disappointed that I see all these DJ videos. It's so creative right now. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how creative and powerful and accessible DJ technology is. Yet
Right.
we doing the same shit, the same content over and over again. I know y'all have feelings about what's going on in the world. Come share them, please. Like
Exactly.
tie them in. You know.
Yeah.
You can do both.
I mean,
you can show you off your DJ skills and still you can do both. You know.
you really can. You really can, and it hits hard when you do both. You know, when you lean in on the skills and with the purpose behind it. You know,
people are scared. People are scared. People are fucking scared to say the obvious thing, the elephant in the room.
Right.
I get it, and it's exasperating that we have to think twice about saying no more genocide.
Right.
No,
it's ridiculous.
Stop killing kids. Stop killing. We really got to think twice about the repercussions of that shit, you know?
It's ridiculous. Bruh. I was wondering if have you received well first before I ask this question, I want to kind of share some of the things that you have done. So you did that piece with the remix with the bamboo track. You did the one really dope Palestinian Tell Me When to Go remix, you know, that I've shared with folks.
Right.
There have been a couple scratch routines. I know there was one where you used Curtis Mayfield's voice saying to end the genocide. I mean, I'm forgetting some, but it's like every time like I see a DJ clip of you like on Instagram, like it's got a message inside of it. Like, what are some of the ones I'm missing? I know there's a lot.
I'll just be listening to music and then I'll hear something like, oh shit, let me try something with that. So one of them was Ceasefire, right? Sade.
Yeah, that was tight. Hell yeah.
With War of the Hearts. I think it was from the song War of the Hearts. Yeah, she says ceasefire. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I think I can use that. And then it became a great practice, and just, you know, all these things are also ways to practice my art form. Like, oh, well, maybe I can do like one of those live remix things.
Right.
Because these new mixers now you can loop on the fly.
Yeah.
And yeah,
when I watch you do it too, there is the technical part. Like I feel like this is a whole tangent, but like as somebody who DJs on radio, I feel imposter syndrome in even calling myself a DJ because I'm not a turntablist. Like what you do with live remixing and shit is like magic to me. You know what I mean? Like it would take me hella long to do this inside of like a DAW. You know what I mean? But like what you do is like it's another level of DJing. So I just want to give you props there. You know what I'm saying? And
thank you.
It's tight.
Thank you. And and you are a DJ. Don't shortchange yourself. You know, like at the end of the day, you're playing music and creating and making people feel feelings. Then you are a DJ. So
I appreciate that. Turntablism is another level though, and you know what I'm saying? You're in that realm. You know.
Get yourself together. I know we've all got problems. That's why I'm here to say, no genocide. 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 No genocide.
I did a thing where I just found some YouTube footage of people chanting in a rally.
Yeah.
From the river to the sea, and it was looping that over the salt beat.
That was tough.
I did some stuff. See, and I also there are things that I think really hard before I press post, and I want to try to keep things. I don't know what the right word is. I also am very careful, and I want to be as intentional about whatever the messaging is to not be misinterpreted, right? And I know that's hard because, you know, art is up for many people's interpretation. So there's some things that I felt really strongly and had to double check with my partner if it was okay to post some things. And so there were things that are definitely from, a lot of it is from a sorrow, a heartbreak position, right? Ceasefire, no more genocide, stop the killings. And then a lot of it is anger, right? And I try to really, I think twice, I double, triple check my angry ones, right? And so there's some routines about, I flipped Lauryn Hill from Zion, and I kind of got her, try to make it seem like she's saying Zionism from just like different trickery of the cue points.
Yeah.
and I flipped that with Holla Holla Ja Rule. So it's like Zionism is murder. There's that one.
Was tight. I did see that one.
I kind of didn't push that too hard because I was like, I can see pushback on this one.
But
there's
the I agree with it. It's real.
Word. Yeah. So yeah, like this.
Yeah.
One of the ones the one that blew up, like quote unquote went viral first was the ceasefire one I did with Lil Cease, Biggie, Lil Kim. What's that? The Player Anthem. Okay, so I flipped that because the first thing I thought about was like Lil Cease. He's got to say cease in his song, so I can find cease and I can find fire somewhere. There's got to be songs where he's saying Lil Cease and something fire. And so that was the first one I did where I like kind of flipped the lyrics to say ceasefire.
The death toll from Israel's assaults on Gaza and the West Bank since October is nearing 19,000. More than a third of those killed are children. An estimated 50,000 Palestinians have been injured.
I don't know what else to say. Ceasefire. Scream it one more time. Ceasefire. I don't know what else to say. Ceasefire. Scream it one more time. Ceasefire.
Yeah, that was like kind of like the one that got most people's attention.
That's dope.
The Curtis one was dope because I just re-upped my Curtis record, the Curtis Live, and just sitting with the family listening to it.
One of my favorite. I think that is my favorite recorded piece of music ever. Is that album?
Yo, yes.
Yeah, that Curtis Live is everything.
Curtis Live is so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so yeah, that was fun. That was really fun for me. Yeah, I think that's
dope.
A lot of it.
Yeah. So with that, what has the response been like? Like, has there been like people like, pushing back, or has it been all love, all support? Like, what's the response been like?
I would say pretty much 99.9% support.
Dope.
But I think that's a testament just to the people that follow me, or I guess the way that I've been represented as a public figure, and the folks that feel compelled to follow me.
Yeah.
I think I've had one negative comment of like, what was the comment? It's like, like mining likes for anti-Semitism, like that kind of shit.
Wow.
But
yeah.
I'm surprised. I've mentally prepared myself for some kind of onslaught, right? But knock on wood, like it's been very, very minimal. Literally just that one comment. If folks feel some kind of way, they either just stop following me or block me and don't say anything, which thank you. That's cool. That's what I want you to do,
Yeah.
And I am very comfortable blocking people instead of responding, which is, I think, what saves us a lot of stress.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's interesting, like looking at, the response to things, like, so I put this song out like over a year ago, I actually released it on the 75-year anniversary of the first Nakba. It's this record, I don't know if you heard it, called Open Letter to My Cousins in Israel. And it's all about the Ethiopian experience in occupied Palestine and how, they're horribly oppressed under that system as well. But at the same time, they also are forced conscripted into military service. And many times in Palestine, like when they're at the checkpoints, they can be harder to Palestinian folks than, the white Israelis or whatever. So I did this song about the need to build solidarity there between Ethiopians, Eritreans, and Palestinians, right? And I expected like huge blowback for this song, and I didn't get it. But it's interesting because that song kind of picked up a second life, unfortunately, because of the genocide, and and now there's a blowback around the song, but it doesn't come to me, which is really interesting. Like it's come to DJs over at KXP who have played the song, that have gotten hate mail. There was a podcast that they ran, and the response to the podcast it wasn't public comments. It was people like going to the board trying to get the podcast canceled, and like, coming for people's jobs and things like that. Like it's just a whole nother level, man. And like I've never really seen this kind of like blowback really to anything that we've done. And we you, me, all of us, like we've been outspoken on political issues our whole career, but it's like this one issue like presses buttons in a way that's like different than anything else, so that's why I asked that question, like what's the response been like, because you just never know. It's so many, like there's a whole book about this, right? Like people are progressive until they get to Palestine, and then it's like their politics go out it's like a different person now.
I mean, this is like probably the best is not the right word. This is a huge example of what generational trauma does to folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the disconnect that folks have, that is not surprising, and it is surprising. It's the disconnect, right? Is pretty crazy to me, right? Like former allies on any other issue.
Yeah.
Like on point, like politically on point with some other stuff, just completely disjointed with this particular, even though it's the same lines of oppression, right? Colonialism, those kind of things, whatever. It's really, I think that it's so deep, like that pain that's been passed from generation to generation. Their pain so deep, they can't even see the pain that they're causing to other folks,
Yeah. When did you start learning about Palestine? Like when did you start reading about it, learning about it, that kind of stuff?
College. At Berkeley. And I think specifically, I think I was fortunate enough to have access and to be attracted to. So I did ethnic studies. I went to Berkeley and became an ethnic studies major. But in that track, I was really drawn to courses that dealt with a form of art, right? So there was like race and popular music, of course. There's blah, blah. Anyways, well, my point is I took a class called Poetry for the People, which was started by June Jordan.
Amazing.
And so
amazing.
Yeah, if you're at Berkeley, look up that class. But when I took it, it was a year after she passed. So her students, her former like TAs, took it upon themselves to continue the legacy. And I was, I think, the first generation to take that class without June Jordan helming it. But one of the units is about Palestine. And that's where I think I learned most about it. And, coincidentally enough, I learned best when there's art involved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A poetry reader holds more attention for me than a book. So
yeah.
So that's when I first started learning about issues. Definitely not in high school. No.
Yeah. No, I attribute Suhair Hamad, like reading her poetry as being my first teacher about Palestine. Late 90s.
Yeah.
It was Suhair for me. And then later it was Palestinian hip hop,
Matter of fact, that was the very first video I posted about, to do something public about my feelings post October 7th, was reposting a Suhair Hamad poem.
That sounds right. Yeah. Man, shout out to Suhair. That's dope. It's kind of a basic question, but I I think it's important for people to hear different perspectives on this. Why do you think it's important for you as an Asian American person to be in solidarity with Palestine and in solidarity also with Black folks and, you know, all the different oppressed groups that I've seen you stand in solidarity with through the years?
This is a really basic answer, is that I feel strongly about having empathy for our fellow human beings, right?
Right.
And I don't know, this might sound controversial for even our own folks, but I only believe in nationalism so far as to recognize that it's been used against us. But I don't necessarily think it's a strong tool moving forward. I feel like it's useful and it's necessary because it's been used against us. So we have to acknowledge those frameworks in our reaction to it. But all things being equal, I think it's important to it's very important to recognize our differences, right? And the beauty in our differences and the beauty in our uniqueness. But I find it very dangerous, let's say in this theoretical world where power structures don't necessarily exist between nationalities or cultures or whatever, to create political power around those things, to me, is dangerous, right? Because it's not dangerous in and of itself, but it's dangerous in the in creating that power, and in that power, there's danger in the usage of that power, right? So, my point is, I have a very simplistic, almost kumbaya answer to your question, which is we should have empathy and compassion for all human beings, right? And beyond that, all living things, right? Like the Buddhists, all sentient things. And so essentially that's why I feel strongly about the injustices of all folks, right? And because there are people who don't feel the same way that I do, it makes me very bitter, right? That that when folks, like a thing that irates me to no end is people who rally more strongly for causes that only affect the way they identify, whether it's nationality or race, but not necessarily are. I'm not saying folks need to be on publicly be rallying for equally for every, like, you know, I don't. Yeah. I'm not saying that, but I know folks intimately, like the folks I do know, who like only get riled up when it involves somebody that looks like them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's that's an issue. And this goes back to college. I remember when we're in the middle of a fucking war. We're fucking like Iraq's being bombed, right? And these kids over here don't say shit. And I'll tell you who these kids are later. But all of a sudden, Abercrombie and Fitch puts out a T-shirt that's kind of racist towards Asians, and then now they're like hardcore rallying on the streets with picket signs and shit, you know. But I never saw you at the anti-war rally, homie. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel that I'm gonna get hate for this because this is very petty of me. I understand the pettiness of the way it sounds, but my point is, like, I feel like you should feel enraged about injustices to all folks. Yeah. Period. Right. And it's understandable that there's certain causes that you feel more strongly towards, but yeah, I have strong feelings whenever I see anything, but even stronger when it's a systemic, when you see systemic power being used to abuse and mistreat people. Because that ties in, that's beyond just like interpersonal beef or interpersonal whatever. And when it becomes about like systems of power that are created, that are constructed with our hands and constructed with our tax money, that shit fucking enrages me. And that's where I really get like
Yeah.
these strong feelings that I need to express and vocalize. But
Yeah.
yeah, at the base of it, fucking like we need to feel empathy for all folks.
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real. I was gonna say the part about, the tax dollars is that I've been thinking about, Iraq and those times a lot, in relationship to this time, because there are echoes of it, like, our tax dollars paying for it, and even people's responses then and people's responses now. Like, I've talked to people who are like, oh, it's on the other side of the world. It doesn't affect me, so I shouldn't care. But you're paying for it though. You absolutely should care. It's being done in your name to a certain extent, so, you know, yeah,
I mean, people don't
so
realize.
wild. Hmm.
I mean, especially now that media is in our hands 24/7,
Yeah.
whereas maybe before it was like on a TV screen, which we had to turn off certain points,
Right.
go on our car trip to whatever
Hmm.
or whatever. But like, even just like the psychological effect of seeing this over and over, like, and you not understanding that does affect you. Like,
100%. Yeah.
like you are unconsciously being conditioned to dehumanize these people.
That's
Whether
right.
you, even if you, like, you're in your head, it's like, nah, man, like everybody's human. I'm cool. Like, I have love for everybody. If you're not consciously realizing that conditioning, that programming, and actively trying to decondition that, then that's going to creep into your subconsciousness. You know, it does affect you.
Absolutely, it affects you. Even if you're just numbing out and you feel unaffected by the sight of dead children, you've dehumanized them at some level in your subconscious. You have taken part in this, and it's something that's done to you. I'm not saying you caused it, but if you don't actively resist it, you're playing a part in it. And that's, yeah, that's cold. Even as I said that, I'm like, that's
it's fucking crazy.
It's wild. This is the war of stories. This right here is like why I wanted to talk so much about storytelling, because it is like there is a war of storytelling that's happening to us all the fucking time, and it's that kind of, it's to that level where, like, when we internalize these narratives that we hear over and over again, on the news or whatever it is, like, we're accepting a narrative that says it's okay, even subconsciously for these people just to be laid to waste in mass, Yeah. So
it's complicated because nothing is just A and B, right? Or
right.
And so, like, talking about being desensitized or numb to those images, I also want to point out that recognize that sometimes we have to do that as a way to defend as a way to protect ourselves, right? From
That's real.
It's a trauma response. It's a reaction.
It is a trauma response. Yeah.
And that's okay. And we have to recognize that, right? Because at a certain point, there's this creation of like, this will never this is not happening to me. This sucks. It's horrible what's going on the other side of the world. I'm here on my Wi-Fi having this conversation with you, and we're nowhere near having that experience of like a bomb can drop on us, right?
Right. Yeah.
And even we have this disconnect. So it's a constant process of trying to reconnect in this disconnects to try and maintain empathy, because it's so easy to step away, and there's a need to step away sometimes, but you have to always be conscious of what's going on. And my point is, it's so easy to be so disconnected that you cannot ever imagine this could happen to you. And when it does happen to you, you're like, wow, where did this come from? And that's why like we humans are doomed to repeat this shit over and over again, because like folks don't ever realize that how close it is. Like, we're just one step away from, I don't know. I'm starting to sound like a doomsday guy. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But the point is, like, I think that it's a process. It's not like you're either on it or you're off it. You're either connected or disconnected. I think we all are.
Yeah.
Need to have this cycle, but I think there needs to be that intention, that process of scanning your body, scanning your psyche. Where are you at right now with this? You know, like, do I need to step away from Twitter, the news for a little bit? But I don't know. I think it's important to still be connected to it, so it doesn't become like, this is the only thing. This is all I see. This is something I only see on the screen.
No, that's real. Like, it's my therapist told me the same thing, because I mean, I have a hard time with this. I think I should have a hard time with this. You know, this is hard. But I wasn't sleeping for a couple weeks, you know, or getting very minimal sleep, you know, at best. And I talked to my therapist about it, and she said it's important to look away, not to look away permanently, but to give yourself a limit of social media exposure, you know, in this time, if it's taking over, you know, your well-being, because you're not going to be effective to anyone, you know, if you're not taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, and nobody wants you to martyr yourself in that way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I totally agree that, you know, taking care of yourself and intentionally looking away so you can look back the next day. You know, that's the important part. Like, you're looking away so you're strong enough to see it again clearly the next day, you know, is really important. You know?
And I mean, I think going back to the point of your podcast, like, that's why storytelling is so powerful, because it's a way. Art is, like you're saying, art's a form of storytelling, but just literally people being able to tell their personal experience without the framework of like contextualization. Just like, literally, this is what happened today. It's powerful, because I think it's one of the strongest ways for anybody to empathize with somebody else. Just listen to a story, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I know we're running up on time. I know you got an appointment coming up, but I want to ask you, what do you hope people get from your art more than anything else? We didn't even get into all the art, because I know you get into production as well, you know.
I think I want to be able to. It's a multifaceted thing. Like, it's equal parts like showing off, equal parts marketing, equal parts. Man, hopefully I get a gig out of this. Equal parts like, this is how I feel, and I need to tell. I don't care who sees this. I need to express this, and so I think, like I said, I have strong feelings about what's going on in the world. I have these tools to create art through the art of DJing, and so first and foremost is I need an outlet to express myself. So that's one. That's the primary part of it. Two, I do feel like, just through my experience, through a lot of the conversations I had with you guys, through my peers, being constantly challenged throughout my life over things, and coming out as a better human being, right? Challenging everything, like all the isms, right? At my age, I do feel like I hope I can carefully, intentionally express my feelings in a way that is clear, but also can help spark some questions and conversations. If not between me and somebody else reacting to it, maybe other folks watching it, right? I do hope that, like, my peers, not just DJs, but other musicians, producers, folks that practice hip hop, right? All elements, like, there's a small part of me like, man, like, I think you can do this. You can talk about these things, not be scared to do that, but and also still show off. You can still show off and do that shit, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
And I want to I also I am conscious that there's a creative aspect to this. I do want to display creativity around expressing my feelings. And I'm also not oblivious that that's also some kind of marketing. The fact that I put it out on Instagram, it's a way to market myself as DJ. So, um, yeah, all those things. It's
Yeah.
complicated, but
That's real.
at the root of it is like I have strong feelings, and I feel I have the capacity to express them in a responsible and creative way.
Yeah, that's what's up. What's coming up next for you? Like what do you got on the horizon? Are there some releases? Are there some music? Are there some nights? Like what should people look out for?
I think my first answer to that question is I'm a dad, and that's my primary thing right now is dad lifing. I think I'm gonna be on the East Coast soon in June.
Okay.
I don't think I can say the details yet because it's not 100%, but I'm hoping I can be on the East Coast and connect with folks out there because it's been a while in June. So if you're listening to this podcast, hit me up. I would love to connect with folks. Maybe if there's opportunities to spin and just share joy and music out there, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I am still, one of the gigs I have that I'm very, very grateful. It's the most important gig in my life. It also pays the least, but it's the most important gig. It's Motown on Mondays. And that sounds like maybe I'm changing the subject, but it's not. It's like, it's such a powerful space to share joy through music that's deemed classic, right? And because it's classic music, it translates across generations. Like we have folks that are like baby boomers all the way to Generation Z dancing up in there.
Nice.
It's a very diverse space. Gender, race, sexuality. It's such an important space for me, like as a healthy space for me to release and feel joy. But also I think it's a very important, healthy space for our community, for the music loving community to share in. And so I do want to shout out Motown on Mondays, Los Angeles, and the crew there. We're there every Monday.
Nice. What's the venue?
The venue's shortstop. It's like a bar in Echo Park.
Got you.
And then we're restarting a gig called Libre, which Kiwi started in the Bay. And it was simply, he had an opportunity at a pretty popular venue to have a party, and he took it. And it was just us throwing a party. Like
Tight.
No intentions. But because of who we are and our community, I like to call it like the after party for the movement. It's just like all the homies, like the daytime we were in the streets, waving flags and shit. And at nighttime we were dancing to like hyphy music in the club. But
that sounds right.
But right. It's like, even though it's not about what we're playing, is the fact that we're sharing this joy with like-minded people, with our community. So it had a very special vibe to it without any effort beyond just us creating a space for our people to hang out, like the Hidmo, right?
Yes. Nothing brings people together more than music and food. It's everything,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, we when I moved to LA, we started a version of that in LA, and then sunsetted it when the venue closed. And now, like we're in this new phase of life where we're all parents now. We have families. We're trying to restart it, and it's gonna be a day party. It's gonna be family friendly, and I think there's always a need for these spaces for us to gather. But I think right now feels very, very like there's a strong urge of an urge to gather with like-minded people, and just share joy.
Yeah, we need each other. We need each other, and we've been isolated for so long, with the pandemic and everything else, and getting older, like all of it, Yeah, that's real. The Salt tribute y'all did recently looked amazing too. That was really cool to see a Salt tribute going down.
That was so special. And I gotta credit the other DJ, C minus. C minus is kind of like a legendary LA DJ figure in multiple circles. And I'll just say this tidbit, but he was like the first one to play Dilla on like mainstream radio on Power 106.
That's so dope.
But he's just one of the greatest. But he's been like, we're all Salt stans.
Yeah, me too.
But he's like one of those people that has an encyclopedic power of knowing music, and he's been doing these tributes on his Twitch. He's a very strong Twitch following.
Got you.
And we had a venue that was down to give us any date, and we're like, yeah, just give us a Saturday, then let's do a Salt tribute. And I feel like a Salt tribute can only work if we have like primarily Salt super fans there, right? Because the power of that music oftentimes is in their really heavy, slower BPM jams, songs. Those are some of the most powerful. So the peak of that night is when C minus went down to like 80, 70 BPM, like the masterpiece, right? Stay Up, that song. That was so powerful, and I'm so grateful for that. All the folks came out. It was a sea of like-minded POCs in the crowd. It was such a rejuvenating night for us.
I love that.
And like C's not like me. C's not like outwardly like he's not like doing like anti-genocide videos, you know what I'm saying? But it's like that space just felt like a needed gathering, because Salt's music, even though they haven't really necessarily put anything out recently addressing what's going on in the world, their music is still feels like a soundtrack to what's going on, to all the pain that we're going through, and a need to like rise up above that,
I agree. Were you getting in some of the side project like Lil Sims and Chronics and all that? That's
yes. It was, and there's so much shit that like we want to do another one, but we also don't want to like overdo it. So stay tuned. There's gonna be a Salt 2, but it might not happen until maybe like early next year.
Yeah, I love it. Well, man, it's been a joy and a pleasure catching up with you. Where can the people follow you? Is DJ Phatrick on IG?
Yeah, DJ Phatrick, DJ Phatrick. That's the same for all my socials.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gabe. Yo, appreciate you and all the work you do.
Yo, man, much love. I want to thank my friend DJ Phatrick for being so generous with his time, his insight, and his stories. Instead of the usual long extended outro, I'm going to just give you one more clip that Phatrick shared with me. We'll see you next time right here on the Worldwide Underground. It's GT signing out. Peace.
Yeah.